I'm so excited to introduce you to Jamie Reyes today. She is a virtual interior designer. And what's interesting is she and I actually met because we both decided to get coaching. And before we even clicked record a few minutes ago, we were just thinking about how who we are today, which is what, a little over a year ago, like who we are today, a year and a couple months with time is so different. Like we are truly like two different humans, and I'm so thankful for that we're here. And so I can't wait for you to meet Jamie. Her story is so good. You're going to learn so much and honestly probably feel so encouraged and inspired from getting to meet her. So I'm going to let Jamie say hello. So Jamie, tell everybody about you.
Hello, I'm Jamie. As you said, I'm a virtual interior designer, but actually didn't start off that way. So I would say, I'm a wife and I'm a mom of three kids and three dogs. So I always have to mention my dogs. But I actually started off years ago as a nurse. And I went to school to be a nurse, and that didn't really pan out for me. And that's okay. That was not God's calling for me. But I went to go be a nurse. I thought that's what I was going to do. But then God had different plans for me. And I spent 15 years, well, I should probably say 12 years, supporting my husband as a professional baseball player and traveling all around the world in all different places in all different states to support him and his dream of doing what he loved. And all along those years and all along the way, my love of interior design just never left. Since I was 16, that is, I was designing my room and going to home tours and doing things that like that's not normal for a 16-year-old. Like just my love and passion has been there, and my travels with my husband is just it kept that ignited, that passion ignited. And it wasn't until about a year ago, I feel like after we met,
Mhm.
that I was like, okay, why am I still not doing this?
Mhm.
Why have I not gone all in to do this? Because I've gotten certified in a bunch of different things. I take interior design courses for fun. This is just something that I just do. And why am I not doing this? So I decided to jump all in about a year ago, a year and a half ago, maybe, and say, this is what I'm doing. And started placing those little brick pieces together to start making this, passion into an actual thing that I do for a living, but that I love.
Wow. I didn't realize that you were a nurse.
Yeah.
Okay. So, wow. I think it's really special that you had this desire in your heart and you were so supportive of your husband. Like you were like, "Hey, I have this desire. This will come into fruition at some point." And
Mhm.
yeah, when you want to learn something because you think it's fun, like that's the thing. It's like
Yeah.
I feel the same way about marketing. I'm like when there's like anything that I can learn or go, like I want to, like I read all of Russell Brunson's stuff. Like I want to hear anybody that's talking about marketing, can't wait to learn it. And so that says a lot about your passion for it because when you can't stop, like when you literally can't get enough of
Yeah.
anything, it's like, oh, that says something.
Yeah.
Okay. So when we met, you had a business, but it was not a virtual design business. And then I will never forget I was walking right outside my house on my normal little walking trail, and you were messaging me on Instagram, and your energy, Jamie, was literally like on a scale of 1 to 10, it was like 3,043. I was like, she is so excited. And you were like, I have this idea. And I remember, I don't know if I told you, I think I told you on the voice memo. I remembered getting chills. I'm like, that's it. Like
Yeah.
clarity. Like I know this is what you're supposed to do. You were so excited.
Yeah. I think I came to that moment. I was doing an MLM in the health field, and I naturally chose that because I'm like, oh, I used to be a nurse. So hello, I'm just going to do that. Right. But you were actually the first person that I told. So like, it was so random because you would think I would tell my family or like my best friends or whatever. But it was just like, I think that when we did our program together, and just when we had met, I don't know why, but like God was being like, no, 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 you have to tell her. And then shortly after that is when you told me, like, hey, I'm having my in-person marketing event. And I used that as a guideline to be like, that's when I'm going to launch. Like, that's when I have to have a timeline. Like, I'm going to jump and I'm going to do it now. So,
You know, God is really funny sometimes on like who he, puts in our life. And like the moment that I heard it, I was like, it didn't take any it was just like so natural that I was like so encouraging. I was like, you have to do this. I feel like you knew that if you told me, I was gonna
yeah,
be like, uh-huh, go get it. Um,
yes.
which makes me so happy because yes, man, you had told me that, right? And then we had the event. Okay, so
Mhm.
this is all coming together. So Jamie and I decided to learn a new skill. We learned some sales skills. We met, I had my business, and I will tell you, Jamie is in my mastermind. And what I didn't have, even in January when she told me about this opportunity, I didn't even know I was having a mastermind. Okay.
Right.
Like her business was just very getting started in January, right? That was really the beginning.
That was my launch.
Okay, yeah, that was the launch. And then I had my program, but the idea of serving women at a higher level, like more support, like was not even that my parents say like a twinkle in my eye.
Yeah.
And it's crazy how it is September as we record this, and the success that you're about to get to hear from Jamie in such a short amount of time, like I can relate to. And it's what happens when you invest in yourself and you say, "Hey, we're going all in." So where my business is and where Jamie's business is in this year is just like it's crazy. So let's talk a little bit about your journey because I cannot wait to share this with everybody. So, okay, we talked about your design history. You kind of had this pull on your heart since you for a really long time, honestly. So I normally ask the question like, where were you at with the program before leads? But literally, you were just getting started. Like I
Yeah.
was the one like, make your website and think about this and like get these like foundational elements ready. So I mean, you really did say, hey, I want to go all in. I want the top offer. I mean, I guess you did. Well, you did the program first.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so I think where I was when I started was I think I used your in-person event in January. So this was about November when I was really starting to kind of cross my T's and dot my I's to make sure like, okay, I like let's set up my business to launch in
Yeah.
January. Then I even went into your in-person event, like, okay, this is like the first step. Like I was only at, hey, I have a business at that moment.
Right,
I was
right.
not
That's right.
thinking like I knew you were going to offer your program. I actually had so much faith in your program before, even though I knew in my head, I actually went in thinking, no, I'm not going to do that. Like I'm
Yeah.
not going to do it yet because I have no money. It's like I have nothing. Like I don't have anything. So why would I do that? Like that's where I was at. Like I don't even got $1 that I can be like, let's do this. And
Right.
so my mindset was no, 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 like you have to get clients first and then you're going to reinvest back into what it is. And I don't think it was shortly after the in-person event that I was like, okay, like I can do this. I know I can do this. We've had many conversations where it's like I know I can do this. It may take me 5 years to get to the point where I want to go, or I can just put my chips all in. Because most of the times when you start a business, there's an overhead of some sort. There's a
There's
building,
some
there's
sort of investment.
something, right? Like, and I had a website as an overhead. Like my overhead was just so little. And so I'm like, I could do this by myself, or I can put my chips in for people that have gone before me to just make my train, my little train that's going down the track, like go full speed ahead because like I have nothing right now. So this could go quickly or it could go slow at a slow pace. And I decided to put all my chips in, and that's when I didn't join the mastermind then because you didn't even have it.
Right.
I joined your regular
Marketing Matters program.
marketing matters program. Yeah.
Yeah. Yep. So you started and I will say I say this all the time, but marketing is speeds. And I feel like you knew that. I feel like you were like,
Yeah.
hey, I can't afford to wait any longer because my business is new. Like it's such a different thing. It's like I don't have money, so I can't invest versus like the fact that you don't have money is the reason that you should. So that
Yes.
more people can find you. So before you did the Marketing Matters program, because you said originally you're like, I don't know that I'm going to do this. Or were there outside of the money aspect, were there any other hesitations you had that were holding you back from wanting to jump in even sooner?
No, I think it was just the money. My belief in you was so big already. I saw the proof. I mean, just from us spending time together and like seeing your first launch after our sales skills, whenever we did that, seeing your first launch and like having it be so big, I'm just like, I knew it was there. Like another thing too that my belief in you is when you told me you're gonna have an in-person event in November, and we have talked about this, and you're like, yeah, it's gonna be in January. And I'm like, okay, like that's 2 months away. And I was like, she has like, I think at the time, like 1,500 followers, which to me is like a lot. I mean, like, I'm
Right.
not, my goal is not like, be an Instagram famous. But, anyways, I was like, dang, I was like, I want to know how she does this because that's the business I want to run. Like,
Mhm.
I knew it in my gut. I knew that you were going to have everyone, those doors were going to be full, those seats were going to be full. And I wanted to know how to do that so that I didn't have, it would have been easy to say, like, oh, yeah, she has 40,000 followers on Instagram and she had a 300-person event. Like, that would have been easy. But, like, I was like, no, I want to see how this girl does it. And so when I came, I was like, I had no doubt. And I was like, this is how I want to run my business. And at that point, it was just the money that was in the way.
Mhm. Yeah, the way I view life is kind of like that now, where it's like someone's done something, like, no matter what it is, someone has done something that you wanna do,
Hmm.
and it might just require you, like, paying them to tell you how they did it.
Yeah.
Like, it's so simple, and that's what I've done with my coaches. I haven't even told anybody this, but I invested in something else in the last week, and I'm like, "Hey, listen, somebody's done what I wanna do in this area, I just wanna learn from them."
And time is money, isn't it? Like, it's just like, yeah, you could do it alone, but if you could pay to have somebody give you the instruction manual that's gone before you, you're going to make less mistakes. Your speed is going to be faster. Like, it's just going to give you results so much quicker than just trying to figure it out on your own.
Mhm, and Jamie, by the way, if you're listening or watching, like, Jamie is not speaking from theory, she's actually speaking from personal experience. So let's talk about your exact results and how quickly things have happened for you. Now, granted, you really started in January and it's September, so it's been 9 months of you working consistently, and so what I would love, Jamie, if you tell people a few things? I guess the first is, like, how long did it take you to start seeing some results? And when
Mhm.
and by the way, I wanna talk about results as in, like, data and sales, but also, like, you and who you've become and, like, the skill. But let's start with the data. So let's talk about how quickly from launching your first, like, I know you and I have been working together on your Google campaigns and your Meta campaigns. So how quickly did you get just some initial traction? And then how has that evolved over the past 9 months?
Gosh, I think initial traction was getting my messaging correct, not correct,
Mm,
because I feel like it's just now, it's a never evolving thing, right? But
yes,
like the
yes.
core of my message, that's where I first started to see the traction, where people in my inner circle were like, oh, I believe that this is, like, she can help me. That's
Mm.
kind of where it starts first. So I feel like that's where I saw my first traction, whereas was people in my, I guess, my innermost circle that
Your
kind of
warm market.
my
Yeah.
warm market to say, oh, hey, I'm going to take a chance on you. I think you can help me. So that's where I first initially, it's when I started getting my messaging correct. And then the actual traction, like outside of my warm market, didn't come until probably, I would say, like just this August.
Mhm.
Really,
Yeah,
really
like
to be like all the pieces were starting to fall together, where it felt like, okay, now my train is like speeding up and all the pieces are really falling into place.
yes. So, I love that you're telling everyone, like, it took months.
Yeah.
Because one of the things, and I shared this with you recently, is that one of the things that's been hard for me is some people get results in the first day, in the
Hmm.
first week, and in the first month. In fact, that's more common. And
Hmm.
so, what's hard is I get over here, get excited when someone's like, I like Jade, $93,000 in month 1, and I'm like, "Woohoo!" Or someone says, "I spent 75 cents and got 3 sales," like, that's happened, and so, it's hard because what those wins do is they show you that the method works. But what
Hmm.
those wins also do is because there's so many of them, you may actually get discouraged if you don't get instant results, and all
Yeah.
I preach is that it takes time to build a machine, but eventually time is the very gift you get, and so you, Jamie, are so resilient and so like, you're not, and if you are, you hide it really well, but you're not easily frustrated or flustered, like, you kind of know, like, you almost anticipate or, like, expect for it to not be, like, instantaneous.
Yeah, that's 100% correct. But I think that's a muscle that I had to build. And
Mm,
starting a business from scratch, it just had to be that muscle that from the beginning I had to say, Like, I'm gonna do this, and there's gonna be a lot of fails, and there's gonna be a lot of like I bet there's gonna be more fails that I have to overcome, but it's okay. It's like a muscle that I'm gonna be building. When I first started your program, I honestly felt like I was learning open heart surgery. Like I was like, this is so foreign. Nursing background, I went to school and you read a book and you give the right answer because you have to save somebody's life and this is the protocol that you have to do. But being an entrepreneur or starting a business and it doesn't work that way. It does not work.
Wow.
And so for me, I had to unlearn that method of learning. So when I
Mm.
first started your program, I was like, oh Lordy, it's gonna take me a month to get through the first session, but that's okay. Like I don't
That's
have anywhere to
okay.
go. Like I don't have anywhere to go. And so it was just slowly peeling that onion and just saying, like, if I'm frustrated, that's okay. Like I'm just gonna keep going and doing it at my pace. And so yeah, it may have felt long, but I look back and it's so short, like 6 months or 7 months. It feels 8 months feels so short. But when you look back, you're right. Some people do have just instant, you know.
Unrealistic expectations on how
Yeah.
quickly something can work, because I think that's the thing is just like what you said, and it's so hard for me too because in school it's like you do this thing, you do the hard work and the result is almost guaranteed.
Mm-hmm.
And entrepreneurship is you do the hard work and it's absolutely not guaranteed.
100%.
However, it could be like super beyond worth it in your like wildest dreams. So, yeah, that's why when I forget if I reached out to you or you reached out to me about the mastermind, I just knew. I was like, she is the person who has like the like mental fortitude to do this. You know?
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, she thinks about things right. You're very strategic with your questions. You ask for feedback when you need it. You try to figure things out on your own. Like you do everything that it requires to be able to figure something out without giving up. Like you do that and you get to teach your kids that. Like you
Right.
such an example that you're like setting for your kids on how to do hard things. And now your daughter's working with you, you told me?
Yeah.
Oh,
I think do hard things and do them even when it's hard and even when it fails. Like you just keep going. You learn a different way. Like if I could teach my kids anything, it would be that,
mhm.
you know?
Well, you're doing it by example. So I know everybody's like on the edge of their seat waiting to hear like what are your actual results and numbers? Give me the scoop, as I call it. Let's get marketing naked. So Jamie, can you tell everybody a little bit about how much you've spent, your results, your exceptional weekend that you had recently? We want all of it.
Yeah, so it's funny because I had you kind of we also talked about this, but I kind of, you sit back and you think, am I really seeing a lot of results? Like I knew I was because I was seeing more clients come through. But I just was you don't really know until you actually look at the data and really see what's happening, where your progress is going. And I had messaged you that I was like, hey, somebody was asking me, hey, are ads worth it? I see you're running your ads. Are they worth it? And I was like, well, let me do some numbers. Let me crunch some numbers. So when I was looking, I had spent $2,800. So this is for the month of June, July, and part of August. And I had spent $2,800 in ads, and my profit was about $12,000 in that was in bookings. So that wasn't even in the money that I've made from affiliate links or furniture or anything like that. That was just in bookings coming in for those 3 months. And for me, that's kind of mind blowing because my offerings start at 289, $289. So that is
For now, ladies and gentlemen. You reach out to Jamie after today, they're going up. But yes, for now.
yeah, and then and then it's been a couple weeks since we've had that moment. And last week, I had a $5,000 week. So that has, yeah. And I
Wow.
just felt like, what is happening? Like, but you know what? I didn't even have that. What is happening? I just knew, like, I knew like it was going to come together. And I just kept that in the back of my mind, like, just keep going. It'll come together. And it is. And so I wasn't surprised because I had done the work. I knew that the system worked, like you had said, like the method works. And so I had belief in that. The method works. I just have to keep going and refining and it'll happen. And it's happening.
Mhm. Gosh, it's so awesome. So for anybody, like if you missed that, a $5,000 week. And I
Mhm.
know like based at your current like investment rate with your ads, I imagine you definitely didn't spend more than like $500 in the last week,
Yeah,
right?
no.
So it's
No,
greater
probably
than a
yeah.
so greater than a 10 to 1 return.
Mhm.
And I want you to like Jamie, how would people find your business if you didn't run ads?
Ugh, I would probably have to be a slave to Instagram.
A slave to Instagram,
A slave to
truly.
Instagram. I'd be dancing. I'd be like, I don't even know what I'd be doing.
You'd be out in the yard.
Yeah, but I love a lot of those things, but sometimes it's not where I want to be on all the time. Like I want to be serving clients. I don't want to have to be worrying about what I'm going to be doing on Instagram. But I'd probably be a slave to Instagram, and honestly, I just don't know. I don't know.
You don't wanna know.
No, I don't want to know. I don't. That would be like tough.
That would be tough.
Yeah,
I think it's so special, and obviously I'm biased, but I think it is so special that your brain now has something that generated $5,000 in revenue just last week. Like,
I
for
know.
the rest of your entire business, if what you just I mean, in a month, really in a month's time, you would have paid for the mastermind or
Oh
like
yeah.
a month or 2,
Hmm.
basically, with that 5,000 a week rate, but that is the math that I feel like I keep wanting to repeat and repeat and repeat is like, "Hey, what if it took you 9 months, and then at 9 months, everything just started to feel like it was clicking?" Like, you actually oh, one of my favorite things that got me emotional? When you sent me that boxer. So, first of all, Jamie sends me this boxer that she had, like, a $2,500 day or something like
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
Yep,
It was a $2,500 weekend, but then it was like a couple days later, it was like, okay, now it's at $5,000 week.
and I
So
so when I listened to that, the part that got me emotional gosh, what is it you said? You were like, "Someone booked and I didn't even know them." That was my favorite. I'm like,
yeah.
"Wow, someone like, found you and then just gave you money and said, 'I want please, I'd rather have what you have to offer than the money.'" And that is just yes, getting leads and sales are awesome, but the first one that you just, like, don't have to talk to anyone, they just say, "I want this," like, that's really cool.
Mhm.
And, okay, so a few other wins I wanna share with everyone is number 1, you just told me that not only did you get a really cool client, but you also got asked to be like a partner on a big painter's website as like their color consultant. Like
Yeah.
what a positive byproduct of ads.
Yeah.
Okay? So that happened. So tell everybody a little bit about that. That was really cool.
I had a client that I just finished up, and it was a pretty big job. She needed new flooring. She needed just her whole room painted and bookcases painted, and she had said, do you recommend a client or a contractor, a painter in my area that can help me? And so I was like, no, but I'm gonna find one for you. I will find who's
That
doing
is
good marketing.
next level service. That next level service. Oh, and you said you found someone that did good marketing.
Yeah, I was like, okay, this is great. They have fantastic reviews. Like they are findable. And this is like, these are my people. So I had chatted with the contractor and sent him information about the project. And he wanted to see like, what we were going to be doing in that space. And he was like, this is amazing. Like, I want to put you on my website as like, do you do color consultants, like consultations for whether it's exterior or interior? And I want to put you on the website so that we could refer people to you. And I was like, okay, let's do this. Like doors open up when you are findable. When people can find you, avenues that you didn't know existed can open up.
I mean, it's so true. I think about Sherry, who is, if you're listening to this now, it's 2 or 3 episodes before this one. The mayor found Sherry and gave her a Sherry Somers Day. Like, that happened, and then Jamie here, you got reached out to by, like, a podcast?
Yep.
Okay, so
Podcast.
tell
So just even they found me on Google and they said virtual design is getting bigger and we want to talk to a designer on what that looks like. It's a real estate podcast and we want to find out
Cool.
more information about what that looks like. And
Mm,
I think too, also, doors open when you are findable, but also your brain opens too. Cause I feel like, you think differently about certain things. So whether it is your business, whether it's what your kids are going to be doing later. Or even if somebody comes up to me and they say that, oh, I want to do this one thing, but I just don't know how that would work. It's like, my brain is so different because I'm like, oh, you just need to become findable. Like people just don't know you exist yet. Like I feel like I'm talking like Ashley, like people just don't know you exist. And if you become findable and you have the right message, like you can do that as a business. Like it's just it's like that key that's missing. That now my brain like sees those open door opportunities when they weren't there before.
I think that's it, is when you know how to when you know marketing and you have, like, marketing as an actual skill that you
Mhm.
possess, you can't uninstall that software from your brain, and so you see opportunities differently, and when
Yeah.
you hear of a business struggling, you're like, "Oh, I know exactly where you should start. I know exactly how." Like, it's just your brain goes to, "Oh, it's not actually the challenges with the business, it's not because of referrals, it's just because you need to incorporate this method into your business because people are already searching." Like, it's so simple. So, I think that's the other thing I wanted to share with everyone listening is, obviously, you have gotten your return on your investment now at this point, or yeah. So, and now you see future opportunities differently, which is amazing. Can you talk a little bit about the, like, intangibles, like, the wins that aren't related to money, like, who how confident you feel in your business, or the fact that you're getting to work with your daughter, like, that seems really special. Can you just share what's on the other side of you act or here's the other one, Jamie. When you actually didn't know how much money you were spending on your ads because you really didn't care too much because business was going so well, like, you actually had to sit down, like, that is so relieving.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, can you just share a little bit about, like, how it feels to not be stressing on the edge of your seat, like, when will people find you?
Yeah, I think before I did your program, I felt like, and I think I've expressed this to you, that marketing was this. I'm a visual person, so of course I'm going to go visual. That
Yeah.
marketing is just like the perfect image or the perfect saying or the perfect video. Like you think about these big accounts like Nike or people that just have these beautiful marketing things, and it just feels unattainable. Like it feels like, well, I want to do that, and if I did that, people would find me. um, but what I've realized is that it's not about how pretty your image is or how big your marketing budget is. It's about understanding the communication that you're trying to or what you're trying to communicate with your client. And I
Mhm,
think that that has been the biggest win in the switch, is that no matter what you do, like you can categorize different businesses, whether it's essential or non-essential, but it doesn't really matter what your business falls under. My business can fall under a non-essential item, but it is essential, and I believe that it's essential. And so
mhm,
the way of communicating it also communicated it to myself, which increased my belief in my business.
mm.
Does that make sense?
It
Am I
does.
communicating that? It's like that marketing for me to become findable also became the marketing that I needed for belief in my business, to then be able, like, no, we don't care about how much money we're putting into this step right now because we're going to see the results. Like that all fueled that part
Mhm,
where I wasn't really looking at how much money I was spending or whatever. It all became this big circle that, I was not only finding out how to market my business, but how to market to myself
mm,
to then create the belief that I just needed to keep going.
mhm. Yeah, it's, like, taught you resiliency. That's I mean, you've already had it, like, you already had resiliency, but it's taught you that I feel like getting your messaging right and spending the time to figure it out and continuing to learn more about marketing, it's giving you, like, some peace of mind. People you are in control of how people view your business, on if it is essential or non-essential, and I cannot tell you, Jamie, how many people have come to me and said, "Ashley, I don't know that I should run ads, like, nobody else is doing it." And I'm like, literally, that's exactly why you should. Like,
Yeah.
because most virtual interior designers, what are they great at?
Mm.
Virtual interior design. They're not great at Google Ads.
Right.
That's so random. Why would they spend time doing that? Well, because you can have a brand new business, and in your first year, you can be on track. I mean, who knows where you're gonna end up by the end of the year? Like, I don't know if you've done your revenue projections, but, like, for your
Yeah.
first year in business to be able to be where you are and to know that, like, what is even 2025 gonna do?
Right.
You could get
I
my
haven't even I haven't even launched ads to, like, different ideas that we've talked about because 'cause I've been so busy just, like, you know,
serving
trying
clients.
to getting the clients and learning how to manage that and, bringing on an assistant because I needed help, like, that I'm like, I haven't even put all my ideas into, like, my bucket. Um, all I was focused on was what is my message and what one person could find me. That's literally what
Mhm,
I was focused on. There is
mhm,
one person out there that could benefit from my services. I don't care if there's like 30 right now or 500. I just need to get that one person because then that one person then leads to the next person, then leads to the next person and gives me clues on how to alter my message for the
mm,
following. So that's like literally, I think, one of the big wins from doing all of this too. It was just how to speak to that one person, which then will lead to the next, the next, the next.
mhm. Jamie, 1 or 2 more questions for you. So, one of them is, can you describe what it was like to be in the Marketing Matters, like, mastermind, like, the actual in-person mastermind? And I know we haven't done our December one in Rosemary, which is about to be bougie and beautiful and also really productive. But can you share what it's like to be in the room with other people and, like, maybe any of the value that you have just gleaned from sitting next to people and just the room, the power of being in a room, really?
I mean, going into the mastermind, I thought the value was going to be just having access to you for any questions that I may have or clarity over messaging or ads or whatever. I thought that was like, oh, the ability to talk to you every day if I needed it is the value. But it
Mhm.
wasn't until we finished that in person event where I said, no, this is the value. Like
No.
this is where the beauty is because it wasn't just it was being in a room with, everyone putting their chips in. So the energy is just different.
It
But
is.
also, there's so many different businesses and people that can give you insight, like people giving you ideas or insight to things that you would have never thought of or looked at in that way because it may be something completely different, like, Jade with the websites or whatever, of her just giving that one tip, like that was gold. Or this person giving this one tip, like that, that was everything being in that room.
It's the thing that has changed my business too, is you think that you go for you, like, for your direct feedback for sure, but you get in the room with a bunch of really smart, like you said, there's something different about getting in a room with a bunch of women who have said, "We are taking this seriously, like, we are so all in, and we're gonna pay big money to be in this room because we know we're gonna get big results and big returns."
Right.
And it was just it was so special looking around the room and seeing everybody, like, taking notes and helping each other. Like, you had a few moments, I remember, where you were like, "That was so helpful." Like, just
Mhm.
1 or 2 little things. It's just one idea could change everything, let alone 3 days of it. So,
Right. Yeah.
that's awesome. Okay, Jamie, well, we wanna hear what your goals are for the rest of your business. Like, what is your big dream so that we can re-record a podcast a year from now or a couple years from now, and we are like, "There we did it." So, like, what is your goal? What are you focusing on right now?
Oh, that's a great question. So many ideas swirling through my head, but really, it comes down to, there's a lot of different virtual design options out there,
Mm,
and sometimes you can feel like a virtual design client going through the conveyor belt on a lot of those options. And I
mm,
want to change that for people. I really feel that um, loving your home is loving your family at the end of the day. We can all sit back and think about a time when we grew up and like we may not remember what our house looked like if we were to close our eyes, like we may not remember what the curtains look like or the pillows or all these things, but we remember the way that our house made us feel
mhm,
and whether that was good or whether that was bad. There's a lot
mhm.
of facets that can
There
go.
is.
And I really believe that I don't believe there's been scientific evidence that has been proven that your environment affects the way that you feel. And it can affect your success in life. It can affect the way that you feel, your happiness, on in an everyday, your work, how you work, your productivity. And I believe that there is just not one way to love walking into your space or to love your space. And it doesn't have to just be traditional interior design. You can be in the middle between DIY and full service design. There can be a middle lane. And I feel like that I really want to provide that service for people that they have an easy way to love their space and to have it feel personalized to them as well. So, a lot of things coming as far as um, obviously more packages, more offerings for clients, and possibly a membership where people can find different contractors and have access
Mhm.
to interior design discounts and things like that. So just really a space for people that if they don't want to do traditional and interior design, that they have someone to go to, and that's my goal.
That's gonna happen. Like, you've already started it. Like, it's already like, as far as the snowball going down the hill, like, you've already started to build on this, and I will tell everyone listening that Jamie helped me enjoy my front porch. She did, like, an exterior design for my front porch, and now every time I go out there and I sit in those rocking chairs and I put my Stanley on the little cup beside me, like, I sit there and I'll rock and just respond to Voxers. Like, it's, like, so peaceful, and I did a reel this past weekend about how plants require, like, a certain environment to grow, and I feel the exact same way about business owners, and regardless of if you own a business or not, your environment has so much of an impact on you and how you feel, and I could not agree, like, more that the space matters. Like, I look forward to literally walking in this room, and when
Mhm.
you look forward to going home or to being in your bathroom or to getting ready, like, you are just a better version of yourself because you're just happy to be where you spend the most time for the most part. So I could not advocate enough for, like, your environment matters, and that includes, like, your space.
Yes, and I really feel that there is a middle of the road where, like I already stated, like there is a time and place for full service interior design. Like
Totally.
we need them. We need them when we're doing big remodels and like to help manage their whatever their project is. But there are some people out there that just struggle knowing how to put a space together. Like they want a creative environment in their home that makes their kids want to be there. Makes their home. They would say, "Hey, I want my kids to like have
Wanna
the home
be there.
all the kids come to." Or we do hosting all the time, or whatever it is that pain point that they may have, and they just don't know how to get it there. And that's my goal, is to help them build a place in their home that they love, and really they can do it anywhere around the world. I have a client that's in that's
London.
from London. Yeah, exactly. So it's
We
like,
We
yeah,
we weren't quite sure about our targeting on our Google ads, but I mean, then she came
yeah,
from an ad, so we need to fix something, but hey, she was in London and wanted your help. So, if
yeah.
you have a space that you're thinking of right now and you don't like it, you know you need to do something with it, Jamie, how can they find you?
Well, you can go to jamiereyesdesign.com, or on Instagram. Find me at Jamie Reyes Design on Instagram as well.
And her Instagram and her website is linked below this episode, whether you're listening on the podcast or watching on YouTube. So you can go find Jamie so that you can enjoy your space. And Jamie, I'm just so grateful for you taking the time to share this story. And I can't believe we're here and this is our story from a year and a half ago or however many months it is. But this is what happens when you invest in yourself and your life can change, your environment can change, and you can change. So I'm really thankful that we know each other. And I can't wait to follow up on another podcast episode as we just talk about how your business has continued to grow.
Thank you for having me.
Thanks, Jamie.